At Dave Cooper Live, we connect the industry leaders in the architectural, engineering, and construction space with the people, the products, and the processes to help them build it better. All right, welcome everybody to Dave Cooper Live. Have you ever wondered why building a home in America feels like navigating a maze of permits, delays, and sky-high costs? Well, millions of families face an impossible housing market. The real obstacle might be hiding in plain sight: our building codes. Right now, the U.S. is short 4.5 million homes. In the current building code, a staggering 4,300 pages. Let me say that again. It is 4,300 pages. And our Constitution of the United States of America is just 16 pages long. Could there be something there? We're going to find out. And joining us today is Paolo Terramani, the mind behind the American Building Code. He is proposing a streamlined 100-page solution aimed at solving the housing crisis with performance, safety, and freedom at its core. But first, before we get into today's show, we have to make sure we thank our supporting members. And we are in Las Vegas, everybody, for World of Modular. So stay tuned for more on that. But right now, let's thank our supporting members. CombiLift is the largest global manufacturer of multi-directional forklifts and straddle carriers, a leader in long load handling solutions, offering a free warehouse and site optimization design service. CombiLift helps companies of all sizes and from every industry maximize the capacity, safety, and efficiency of their warehouse and storage facilities. A big thank you to Paul Short and the team at CombiLift for helping us all to build it better. Visit them at combilift.com. Ready to scale up your offsite construction business? Introducing 4A Constructs, your solution to finding skilled labor for offsite manufacturing. Say goodbye to the headache of recruiting a skilled workforce with hand-selected certified tradesmen that are expertly trained and managed for offsite manufacturing, set crews, and finished crews, ensuring maximum productivity and safety. Unlock the future of skilled workforce development for all of your offsite construction needs. Visit them at 4aconstructs.com. All right, again, thank you to all of our supporting members. We cannot do any of this without them. And as you see on that ticker below, if you want to support us as well, if we're bringing you valuable information, we're helping this industry grow, and we're trying to stay independent, not get in bed with the devil, so we can bring all the information to all of you out there. All right, sitting with me, Paolo. Hey, brother.
Nice to see you.
I
Nice
know.
to see you, Dave.
I love when I run into you when I come out to Las Vegas.
Thanks
So
for coming up.
we've been having a conversation as of late about all of the issues that you've been facing in this industry when it comes to regulation, when it comes to codes, when it comes to just politics in general. And you and your team have kind of sat down and said, hey, we're going to come up with a whole different solution, completely separate from our manufacturing and what you do at Boxable.
Yep.
And we're going to do something for the industry. Not only do it for the industry, you're going to give it away to the federal government for $1 if you can get it through. Why don't you walk us through what that is?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I negotiate hard, so $1 it feels like the right number. And so my day job is to run a rather large technology building startup, which most folks are familiar with, but that's not the purpose of the American Building Code. We would be a member just like everybody else, and it is aimed at fixing the regulatory nightmare that we have in our country, and it is agnostic in terms of building technology, whether it's a factory or field construction, whether it's an apartment complex or a large development, or a single poor son of a bitch homeowner owns a piece of land,
right,
who is really just completely being prevented from building products. And obviously in the last 4 or 5 years that we've been running and growing our company, we've seen the problems firsthand, and I just felt it was incumbent upon us, the building industry, to provide a solution, in this case to the administration, to the current administration. And the administration, this administration is screaming deregulation. So if there's ever a time in history where we can come back to sort of sanity, this is it. The time is now. If you had asked us to put this together, myself and our engineering team, 2-3 years ago, we could not have done it. We didn't have the solution. The solution is so blindingly simple, as most first principles are, that now we do. And I think that most people would agree with us.
So, most times when we see new products come to market, new ideas come to market, it comes from pain. It comes from having to deal with something that just doesn't feel right. And that's kind of where this whole thing evolved from.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the building construction market is absolutely a monster. As you mentioned earlier on, we've got a huge deficit in this country of 4.5 million, 4-5 million homes.
It could even be more than that. We don't know.
It could be now.
Yeah.
And that's about 1.5 to $2 trillion in commercial activity for the country. And there is just a massive stonewall in terms of the regulatory burdens.
Right.
And then just fast forwarding to the end, the NHB has done calculations that the cost of a single family home is 1/3 more. More. So keep the numbers round. Do you want to pay $200,000 for your house, or do you want to pay $300,000 for your house?
Right.
Because you've got insane levels of regulatory burden. And I believe the NHB also says, I'm sure I'll get fact checked really fast if I'm wrong, that apartments are about 40 to 50% more. And if you think about it, folks in apartments are typically a slightly lower economic band than the single family home band. So they're getting kicked in the butt even worse than the single family owners. And then of course there's speed. The deficit, the shortfalls, because we don't have speed.
Right.
And we don't have speed because of the regulatory morass. It's an absolute nightmare. There are lots of other industries facing the same regulatory overburden. And I would say by mostly well-intentioned people, not all of them, but mostly really well-intentioned people just doing their jobs. But the questions that they're asking are wrong. The direction they're pointing in is wrong. And it is absolutely stifling the country. It's really a disaster.
It is. I think I just read recently, even in California, there's only been like 2 permits issued, or there was some headline on that.
You're such an exaggerator, Dave. 4 permits.
4 permits?
4 permits. And I have to say, by the way, again, my day job at the company, California, which, in automotive and you would think housing has just really insane regulatory burdens. They've actually been a dream to work with. Can you believe that? They've been absolutely a dream to work with for our company, but still the number of regulations are crazy. But they've been great, and for sure, the Los Angeles has effectively been burned to the ground, and there is no change whatsoever in terms of helping folks build. We have hundreds of homes in stock. We could ship them tomorrow, but we can't.
Well, let's you put together a video here that kind of explains what the American Building Code is. Why don't we play that? It's about 2 minutes, so everybody out there, just watch this and listen in. I got it.
Just the sheer number of permits required to build a house are staggering. I think we need to go in and do wholesale removal of regulations. And if it turns out that we missed the mark on a regulation, we always add it back in. Basically, they've made it illegal. We need to free the builders of America to build.
America has a national housing crisis with a shortfall of 4.5 million homes, totaling $1.8 trillion. The solution is as easy as ABC. The American Building Code. A. Our Constitution, including 7 articles and 27 amendments, fills 16 pages. The existing building code is 4,300 pages. The American Building Code, comprehensive and plainly written, covers 100 pages. Safety is the only consideration that should be regulated. Dictating how to make a home kills progress and technology. If the automobile code did this, we'd be riding around on wagon wheels. The right way to achieve safety is with performance metrics and hard numbers, not an antiquated how-to. Fire, flood, energy, and wheelchair access. One size does not fit everyone. A fire is unlikely in the desert, and a flood is unlikely on a mountain. Ratings, not mandates, give homeowners the information they need to make the best cost-based decision. B. Building departments, when not staffed by licensed professional engineers, are unqualified to determine the safety of a home. However, the same professionals that design skyscrapers are. The American Building Code specifies licensed professional engineers to rate the safety and performance standard of any home built efficiently and accurately. C. The rights and liberty of people to build on their own property has been mostly eroded by their surrounding governments. A simple mandate is required to give Americans back their rights to build. According to the National Association of Home Builders, buying a new home can add a staggering 30% more than it should and add years of delays due to government overregulation. Think about that for a moment. The American Building Code has the cure. Let's recap. A. A performance-based, data-driven safety code with ratings. B. Approvals by certified professional engineers. C. A mandate to protect Americans' right to build. The housing crisis is not red or blue. It's red, white, and blue. The American Building Code. The American Building Code has been created to bring speed, innovation, and the highest quality for the lowest cost to new home construction to solve the housing crisis. The American Building Code is a registered nonprofit, will make no profit, and once implemented, the code and all assets will be given to the federal government for $1 to restore citizens' rights to build on their own land. The American Building Code is a coalition of America's builders, Fortune 500 suppliers, engineers and architects, banks and lenders gathered to serve the American people. Please visit theamericanbuildingcode.com to pledge your support, and let's fix this housing crisis together.
All right. So the American Building Code, there we have it, right? That's the video. So I got so many questions on this. Is this for manufacturers and offsite construction only, or are you thinking about the building code in its entirety for everybody everybody, stick builders, site builders, whatever we call it?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of critical things there. This is for everybody. So it doesn't matter how you're building. If you're a field builder, if you're D.R. Horton out in the field building homes, this is for you. If you own any offsite manufacturing, as we do, as a factory, it is for you. It is a code to deregulate building and only leave what matters to speed the process. So it doesn't matter if you're building mansions, townhouses, apartment buildings, or tiny homes. We need to deregulate. It doesn't matter what your production methods are. It doesn't matter what your technology is. It doesn't matter what your technology is. We just have to return to sanity. The current building code, circa 2000, very well intentioned IRC. It's about 4,300 pages, and that was developed to basically corral three loose codes around the country, that probably from the 70s or something like that. Those were 100. One was 100 pages. One was 200 pages. There's no reason to have this exploded this exploded level of regulation. It's all very well intentioned. The principle is that the only thing that the government should be regulating is safety. The only think about that for a moment. The only thing that the government should be regulating is safety, and I think it's the federal government and the state government's obligation to protect the rights of those homeowners to build, and that will unleash technology. It will unleash speed, quality, and lower prices. And it's very, very obvious that when you take off the constraints of how to make something, as opposed to what the performance standard should be, what is the structural integrity, what is the snow load, what is the bending load, what is the torsional resistance. All of these codes, they just need numbers behind them, and numbers are very compelling. So don't tell the industry where to put the nail, especially if you don't have a nail. Just say, how strong does this particular component need to be, and what elements do we need to focus on for safety?
But isn't that what architects and engineers do and what they go to school for?
Yeah,
to do that?
Yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic point. So an architect typically doesn't do that, but a licensed mechanical engineer does. What else do these guys do? Oh, I don't know. They certify skyscrapers. So I think if they're certifying skyscrapers that are dozens and dozens of stories tall, I think that they're very, very qualified to certify single-family homes. And these folks are very, very conservative with their licenses. That's their livelihood. They're not going to put their name to something that doesn't work. And that's how we should do it. And currently, buildings are signed off on by building inspectors. It's very rudimentary. They don't really, a lot of the time, are not mechanical engineers. They're absolutely not qualified. They go around, they kick the tires, they sign off on it or they don't. It's relationship based. We need to get away from that. And then that product gets put in the queue if the building inspector decides when to come around to doing it. And then, of course, the municipality decides whether what you can build on your own land. This is not America, and it's not the American way of to have liberty in our country for people to express themselves on their own land with safe buildings.
Well, but you'd still need for historic preservation and some of those things in wetlands, no?
Yeah, absolutely. But it should be at the minimus. It should be to a very minor degree, in terms of setbacks, height restrictions, legitimate wetlands. You don't want to take an acre and pack it with 500 homes or something like that. So we're not anarchists, and there should be density and things like that. But we're talking about regulations that go far beyond the imaginable, actually. And your audience is a knowledgeable audience, mostly builders, and the level of madness is really mad.
It definitely can be mad. I mean, even as I mentioned historic district, because I know so many people that can't afford to bring the house up to what they want it to be because of the historic code based on the windows and the they can't just do a double hung window. It has to be a really high end window that matches the architecture and everything. So there are some things that are really difficult.
Yeah, so you have to question, why does it? We're not talking about historic districts, but if somebody owns a piece of land, they should be able to build what they want on it, and nobody should be telling them what color to paint it, what size to make the windows, or anything like that. The only thing that should be governed is safety. And if we look back historically, we've got a beautiful village, Watertown, here next to Henderson in Lake Las Vegas. I was there this weekend with my girlfriend. Hundreds and hundreds of homes that looked like they were built in the 50s and 60s. And I turned around to my girlfriend and I said, I wonder how many of these have collapsed. I'm sure that precisely none have collapsed. And they were building very, very fast back then. And they're still standing today, and people are using them, living them, rehabbing them, and doing what they want. And that should be how we do it.
So how does this move forward, right? Obviously, I mean, there is a lot of legacy players in this space, right? There's already systems in place. I mean, this is like turning an entire cruise ship, 360 degrees on
Yeah.
a dime.
Well, there are only a few parties that might be mildly upset with us, but I also think there's a place for them. There's the current code. There are building departments, and there are sort of local, I call them busybody municipalities that are restricting people's freedoms. And if I have to set those against the millions of homeowners, the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of builders that are dying to build, that are dying to lower their costs, that are dying to speed up, I like those odds. And coming back to the administration, the federal level, we have a once in a lifetime opportunity where the word deregulation is being shouted from the mountaintops in terms of energy and factories and all sorts. And I would say right up at the top of that in terms of dollars, in terms of what moves the needle for the American economy is buildings, is buildings. And I have not heard one single person, not one, or one company that has proposed a solution. Everybody complains, and rightfully so, that housing is not affordable, that we're not building enough, that there's a deficit, but not one person can provide a national solution that fixes everything for everybody, that doesn't say, oh, we need more low income. No. Or let's open up BLM land. No. All of that stuff's great. But these are pockets. These are all pockets. That doesn't fix the underlying principles, the underlying core problem. We need a federal code. We need a federal code like we have. Highways are regulated. You don't suddenly go down a road and the road gets narrow on a freeway. I mean, there are rules. There are rules for that. So there is a place. My nature is a sort of freedom-loving American. I'm probably slightly more on the libertarian side. I'm not an anarchist, but there is a place for the federal government when local governments are stepping on the neck of homeowners and developers, and that's what's happening here. So I would like to see the federal government restore the freedom of folks' rights to build on their own property.
Yeah, and I think that was Elon's voice that we heard in the video in the beginning. Yeah,
that was Elon speaking at the beginning. Talking about these things, and if we default to first principles and the clarity of thinking, I don't know if there is talking of the mountains. That guy's top of the mountain.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot going on with what he's doing with Doge and other things in the industry, but just the sheer fact that he even made that comment about the housing market, I think is pretty incredible. So where do people go with this, Paolo? What are you looking for? How do you take something like the American Building Code and get the attention and the wherewithal? And like somebody I saw even in the comments, like, all right, 100 pages. Where are you with that?
Yeah, great. So let's look lightly under the hood and see how we get 4,300 pages and more, frankly, down to 100 pages. You've probably got 9 to 12 different categories. You can easily write those things in 9 to 10 pages a piece. We're talking about performance metrics. We should not be telling people, as I mentioned earlier, put a nail every 3 inches. Now you get into minutiae, you get into reams and reams of paper. To just tell people how strong it is, and then people can get creative. Technologists like we are, to create new technology that speeds things up and lowers cost, all under the auspices of safety. So that's number one, is safety. I don't think it's the government's role, and I don't think it's their right to measure anything else. As long as we're safe, good. And then the flip side of that, or sort of companion side to that, is ratings. So what am I buying from this builder? I don't care if they're in the field or the factory. The market is so big, I don't even feel competitive in my day job with any of these folks. They're all my professional friends. I want everybody to succeed because there's so much to go around and the need is so big. So if you put out a product, you should be able to put out a product at one installation level or another installation level. So what are those things that, in terms of safety, it should be fire and flood. That's really it. Fire and flood. We're in the desert. We don't have any trees. Things aren't catching fire. And if you're top of the mountain, as we say in the video, you're unlikely to flood. So you don't have to have sort of a brick shit house that has literally everything on it, which is just blowing up the cost of the product. And then of course there's handicap, and handicap really just means wheelchair. All right. So ADA. It doesn't mean blind. It doesn't mean this. It just means wheelchair. Call it what it is. So we're talking about fire, flood, energy rating, and wheelchair. So what are the ratings for fire? What are the ratings for flood? What are the ratings for energy and wheelchair? So folks can see I have a safe product. It meets these mechanical obligations, safety obligations, and then here's the rating for this product. This product is not wheelchair friendly. This product is wheelchair friendly, and so on and so forth. So that's the first part. The second part is, let's take the authority away from where it doesn't belong with the building inspectors, who are typically not mechanical engineers, and have certified mechanical engineers approve the safety of the products, and does it apply correctly to the code? Does it conform, correctly to the code? And then thirdly, we again, I'm a small government guy, but this is at a federal, state level, where I believe the feds and the states need to step in to restore Americans' rights to build, which have been almost wholly taken away right now. And we see the net result of that, which is 30% higher cost for single family, 50% higher cost for apartment buildings, massively extended lead times. And of course, time is money, and anybody in business here understands that time is money. And those products that get to market are the ones that actually got through the last hurdle. They're the winners, but they're sort of suspect winners, because they may have taken such a beating to get to market. And so all the product that fell on the prior hurdles, because those small builders, large builders, just gave up because they couldn't build on that land. So ABC, we're talking about safety, qualified approvals, and restoring the right to build. Very, very simple. We're talking about maybe 9, 10, 12 categories, and very easy to fill those out. And we have drafts currently for those. So this is, once you truly understand the problem and you apply first principles, it's very, very easy to apply a solution. But it has to be a comprehensive solution that can get everybody on board. It can't be a narrow for this segment of the building trade, or narrow that it's this segment of the population. This has to be residential building construction for everybody.
When this came, to my attention a year ago, when you were looking at the building code, like, you had a team of people actually analyzing the building code and going through piece by piece, if I remember you telling me that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. The company has, we have actually nobody from the building industry here. We have one poor guy. We sort of beat him up here and there, But what we do have is we have a room full of engineers from high technology companies like Tesla and others. We had one guy from Boeing, but I understand that's not very popular these days, so I mentioned him. And so we have highly technical, highly competent people, and we did what we do, which is dig under the hood, look through the rules, and say, let's screen these, let's weight these, let's put these through a filter of safety, and whether it's a prescription or whether it's performance. Is it prescription or it's performance? Prescription, kick it out, replace it with performance, and if it's not safety, kick it out. And that gets us down to something very, very simple. And those earlier codes were about 100, 200 pages. And I don't think modern technology is making homes more safe. I don't think less safe. I don't think Wi-Fi is making a house any less safe than a house built in the 1940s or 50s. And they're all still standing. For the most part.
They are, as long as you take care of them, right? That's kind of the way it works.
Exactly. How do people return to sanity?
How do people get involved, Paolo?
If folks can go to AmericanBuildingCode.com, it's also a .org. So very simple, www.AmericanBuildingCode.com. And to show you how little attention there is, that we could go online and buy the domain name AmericanBuildingCode.com, that we could go ahead and buy that domain name because it was available. Shows you how little there is in terms of activity in this area, and that nobody has a solution. But we had a very nice mixer at my place a couple of months ago.
We did.
We met with a bunch of industry leaders, and we're looking for folks to just pledge their support. Don't want your money, don't want anything from you other than to endorse the principles that are espoused in a 4-minute in the 4-minute video. If you watch the 4-minute video and you talk very quickly, you can speed it up to 1.5, 2x, and we can reduce that to 2 or 3 minutes, so you don't take up too much of your time. But please do hop on, do reach out to us. And again, this is not anything to do with my day job. It's not anything to do with the company I run as a CEO here in North Las Vegas. our factory building company. This is for everybody. We would be nothing but a member and a participant and someone who also received the benefits, but it's not for any subset of the population, whether it's the producer or the customer. This is to restore freedom.
So I'd be in kind of the final comments here before we wrap up. Concern. I think you'd find a lot of concern from the industry putting their name on something like this. Just because it will be very controversial, in my opinion.
I can talk to that.
Yeah. So, what do you say to that?
Yeah.
Right?
So one of the things I realized, which was absolutely not on my radar, is people are concerned and flipping over to slightly scared, and to me that's just complete madness.
Right.
I think you have to take a long view and step up to fix the issue. So if you are in the building space, if you want to build more, if you want to get these regulations that do not advance anything at all, jump on board, support us, pledge your support, and reach out to us if you think you can help. Our goal would be to develop this a little bit more, take it straight to administration, see what happens.
I was just looking at the camera here. I got to get myself some cool sunglasses like you have going on there.
I love the fact that you said they're sunglasses, because they're actually prescriptive lenses.
Are they? Yeah.
But I'm so vain that I make them orange, so people will say things like, "I like your sunglasses," instead of, "Look, who's that four-eyed guy?"
Perfect. So there are a couple comments out there. How quickly or when will you think you'll be ready to share some insider information on what this 100 pages looks like, and what the next steps are? There are some under the cover. When can we expect to see something from you?
Right. So we've got principles. We've got 9, 10, 12 different buckets to fit in. We've got stuff drafted, but it has to be a team effort. So I don't want to disclose those things. We are one company and one group of people. We've suffered along with the rest of the industry with the insanity of the current codes, and we believe we have the solutions, but we would be remiss if we didn't take everybody's input. So we need to put a little task force together. I mean, really just a dozen guys, and hash it out and put it together. Not complicated. This is not the 1940s. This is not 1950s. We have computers. We know how things, how strong needs to be. We have seismically and topographically, we have a developed country. We know what the wind loads are by sector and all of those things. As I said, data is very compelling, and we are pretty hardcore engineers. So to put it out early, to have folks just shoot it down, is not such a good idea, and we would not be brash enough to put something out that hasn't been fully vetted, because it has to be right. It has to be right to the point where it really doesn't need to change. It has to be right to the point where it doesn't need to change. Everything's written very, very clearly, that there is easy interpretation, that there is a certified mechanical engineer qualified with a license to sign off, and we're done. So that's what I would say about that. So we are still early in the process. Frankly, I want to get this done quickly. Everything we do very, very quickly as a company. And I'd like to get this done quickly, because that's how we do things.
Yeah, and listen, I'm really interested in this. So for all of you watching this out there, I'd love to see your comments, get your thoughts on it as well. You can put those in the comment section and thoughts. Paolo, I see some comments asking about how they reach out to you. They want to be a part of it. I believe this is Connor Dillon, the young gentleman. I think he is the youngest passive house. I think he got certified in passive house at like 12 or something. I don't know if that's good, but super whiz of a smart kid, but somebody good to know.
There's a job with your name on it here if you reach out to me. Seriously though, there is an email that will reach me. It does get vetted, but it will eventually reach me. We are building some coalition of movers and shakers before we do present it to the administration. Give us your endorsement. That is the most valuable thing you can do, along with your ideas. And please do share it with us. And as I said, we've cleaved it in two parts. This has nothing to do with the company that I run, this is for everybody. This is for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's what I like the most about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a nonprofit. You've already set it up, and you're going to sell it back to the federal government for $1. Should it get to that level? But yeah, listen, I see the comments coming through. Josh, thank you for your comment. The ICC is too big for you to take on. There are so many special interest groups, including the politicians, which I don't think that really fears you much. I think the idea is to avoid all that and go straight to the top, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, this cannot be ground up. It cannot be done by at the municipal level, at the local municipality. We could go state by state. We know a bunch of governors. We know a number of governors with terrific balls. Can I say that? Well, I just said it. Maybe you can beep. Oh, it's live.
Oh,
so.
there is no beeping. Hey,
yeah.
listen.
So hopefully I don't get messed up on that.
You're good.
But we'd like to aim a little bit higher for the regulatory level. We do believe that it should be a federal code. If we can't achieve that, we will attempt to implement it in a state or two. And see what happens. And we can attempt to do this and succeed. And if we don't attempt it, then for sure it cannot happen. If we don't attempt it, 1,000% it cannot happen. We cannot remedy things. I started the company that I run to do good works. It is a for-profit company. It is to fix a problem. And having been in the business a few short years, we realized that the structural problem, if you pardon the pun, is mostly mostly regulatory, and we are technology agnostic. There are lots and lots of different ways to build product. The way we build product, we build product different ways. There are lots and lots of wonderful creative ways, and lots of wonderful creative people out there to develop the product. So we are material company. Technology completely agnostic as long as it's safe, and this will explode creativity and lower costs for all. Would lower all your back-end costs, your administrative costs, your attorney fees, of which we have millions. millions.
You have that anyhow, right?
We
We're
have
building
anyway.
A company, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
We're looking for a rational streamlining. So I think that there are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people in the building industry that can benefit from this, and of course millions and millions of homeowners, and that is the end result.
Yeah, for sure. And Connor, sorry, I got you confused with somebody else with the same exact name. It looks like from San Antonio, Energy Star and Energy Ready National ACQ Quality Manager. So appreciate you tuning in, and Josh, I appreciate you tuning in. The regulations are a mess. So what I'm hearing is if people go to the AmericanBuildingCode.com and pledge their thing, they can either make you told me before, they can pledge it as private or public.
Correct.
But is that also a way to get updates from you on what's happening as this starts moving along?
Yeah, absolutely. Just give us your endorsement. If you'd like to keep your name private, you can keep it private. If you want it public, we can have it public. And I see you've got Connor Dillon, or is it Dylan Connor? I don't know.
Connor Dillon,
I don't know. But I don't know. Anyway, Mr. Connor or Mr. Dillon, Energy Star. And there are certainly associations that we want to collaborate with. The Energy Star rating is a very interesting one, and it's a very, very good one. And if you think about the first part of the code is safety and rating. Safety and rating. So we need thermal flood energy, Energy Star. Why would we not co-opt that rating and collaborate with those folks? We'd love to do that.
All right, listen, Paolo, I think that's about it for us today. So World of Modular is in town, so another big event for the industry is happening right down the road at the Bellagio. So we have our event tomorrow night, so I'm looking forward to seeing you come to our event. But for all of you out there, listen, honestly, put this in the comments. In fact, share this video around with others just to get the feedback, just to get the anger or the support or whatever it's going to create. I am interested in this in myself. The one thing that is definitely for sure is we have a housing crisis at the moment. We have an affordability crisis. We have too many veterans on the street. My kids will not be able to afford a home. Something has to be changed, and we have to look at everything. We can't just say it's one thing and not the other. So I like the idea that you're going down this path and looking at it, and I wish you the best of luck with it. And we're gonna keep talking about it. Maybe we should have a roundtable with other industry leaders and put it out there
Let's do it.
live for a big roundtable discussion.
Actually, yeah, let's do that. I have one more question for you though.
Yeah.
You want to grab a bite later?
Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yeah. Time for a cocktail.
It is.
All right.
But at least I'm ready for a bourbon. Hey, listen, if you're a bourbon maker out there, always love those bourbon supporters. Anyhow, hey, listen, Paolo, thanks so much for having us.
Thank you.
American Building Code. Go check it out. Let us know your thoughts. And I'm Dave Cooper. Make sure you thank all of our supporting members, to include the one you see going across the ticker down below there, because we can't bring you any of these informative conversations and keep you in the breaking news arena, such as the American Building Code. And that's what's happening right now. So again, thank you to all of you out there that support us. And we are going to wrap up by thanking these supporting members as well. I'm Dave Cooper, Paolo Terramani. Thank you. What an amazing show. Thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us to continue to bring all of these innovative conversations to all of you out there. Please visit them, see what they have to offer you. And as always, subscribe to the YouTube channel and ring that bell. It would mean the world to us. I'm Dave Cooper. Thanks for watching.